Hello and welcome to Say What? I thank you so much for joining me today. The reason for this presentation is to bring to your attention the fact that the foods that we are buying in the stores these days are owned by corporations. Before I dive in, let me ask you this question. Did you actually know that these foods are owned by corporations? Let me know in the comment section whether or not you knew already. Because I'm sure many people out there are not aware that the foods that we're buying in the stores today, I'm speaking of the agricultural foods, they're actually owned by corporations. These foods are classified as GMO. To tell you the truth though, I didn't know until recently, which is why I'm making this presentation to inform those of us who still don't know. Welcome to Say What? Say What? Say What? I recently dug into the ownership of the foods we see in the stores these days and came up with this shocking answer. What many people don't know is that the foods we're buying from the stores these days are genetically modified foods, and they're actually protected by intellectual property laws. You may ask, what? Yes, they are protected by intellectual property laws. So let me explain what intellectual property law means. Intellectual property law, according to Google, is a law that protects intangible creations of the mind, such as inventions, artistic works, designs, and symbols. This grants creators exclusive rights to control, use, and commercialize their work. It prevents unauthorized use of these properties by others. Since the 1990s, intellectual property laws were implemented to protect the major players of GMO seeds, which can prevent farmers from legally saving these seeds for the next season's planting. Can you believe that? Man, when I heard it, I was like, what? I grew up on a farm with my grandmother, and my grandmother planted just about everything, right? And each year she would have stuff left over, whether it's seed or sucker, or in some cases the heads of yam and other agricultural produce that she safely keeps, or she safely kept then for the next season of planting. And there was absolutely no fear of using these things, because the food is to feed the world. The food is to feed the world. The fruits. This is why the Bible says the fruits of the seed within them, and the seeds are to continue the production of the fruits. The same thing for everything that goes into the ground. So when I heard this, I was surely taken aback. I was flabbergasted, because it doesn't make sense. But yes, GMO is somewhat different from the original foods. Now, my grandmother used to plant the original foods, and I hope that we still do have many farmers who are planting the original foods these days, because I believe personally the original foods gives us the proper nutrients that we need for our bodies. I don't know exactly how GMO foods impact other people's bodies, but it doesn't sit well in my body. You may ask, what is GMO? GMO stands for genetically modified organism. genetic modification. This is a technology used to directly alter organisms' DNA, such as adding, deleting, or transferring genes to produce desired traits, according to Google. This is what was done to the real foods. Okay? It means, therefore, that what we are seeing in the stores today were derived from the original foods through genetic modification. And can I tell you, the major players in this industry are Corteva, Lima Grain, ChemChina, and Bayer. They are classified as the Big Four. So Bayer acquired Monsanto back in 2018. Dow and DuPont merged to form Corteva AgriScience. Lima Grain is a large farm-owned French cooperative, which is one of the biggest companies that produce seeds. And ChemChina bought Swiss giant Syngenta. So while we were trusting those who make laws and policies on our foods, they were giving rights to these corporations to change the foods and own them. Please, let me know what it is like finding the original food versus the GMO foods these days when you shop. This is now the food that is being pushed on us these days, the GMO foods. You go to the stores to buy foods and all you see are GMO foods. Some people may think it yields the same result as the original foods, but to me, it doesn't. I've eaten it and trust me, it doesn't work the same. The question I ask myself these days is, does this type of food alter our DNA? I don't know. But from my perspective, I think something is changing in our bodies when we eat GMO foods. I strongly believe that. And what had happened back in the 90s when they implemented the intellectual property laws concerning GMO foods to give the big players in the GMO market protection, they essentially took away the rights from farmers to actually own these seeds. You know how I mentioned back in the days when my grandmother would plant the same foods over and over for each season? Today, if you are farming the GMO seeds, you do not legally own those seeds, which makes it illegal for you to replant them without permission because of the intellectual property rights protection. If you're a farmer of the original seeds, you want to protect those seeds. You want to also protect your right to plant your seeds, because GMO seeds, unless you're given authorization, you do not legally plant them. So be careful. Do not mix GMO seeds with the original seeds in order to protect yourself from legal wrangling. You do well too to preserve the real foods, because GMO, as was stated, is a derivative from the original food. Therefore, you'd want to protect what is original so that you'll always have what I consider the better foods. This will prevent you needing to always rebuy to replant. You'll have seeds that you own and not seeds that are owned by corporations. Tell your family, tell your neighbors, tell your friends who are farmers to protect the original seeds that they're planting, so that they will not by any means be subjected to any legality where replanting those seeds are concerned. Last but certainly not least, share seeds with other farmers so that they can protect the original foods as well. This is very important. We do not want to only have GMO foods, which in my opinion doesn't work for my body. Let me know if it works for your body. When you eat vegetables these days, there's no fiber. There is absolutely no fiber. When you eat fruits, you're not getting the fiber. You're not getting the nutrients that the original foods would normally give you. The impact is different. Yes, you get filled up. You feel full. But your system does not work the same way. The GMO foods for me personally, because I live in Canada, and Canada doesn't seem to have, or it is so hard to find the original foods. Please, let me know what it is like finding the original foods versus the GMO foods when you go shopping. In summary, we have been deceived into buying into why they change our foods. Back in the days when I was younger, I was told that the population of the world is growing so rapidly, and in order to feed the population, they needed to modify the foods so that they would grow faster. Now I realize that's not the truth. People are still hungry. People are hungry while the rich hoard riches. They changed our foods to own them so that they can control us. You know the saying, control the foods and you control the people. That's exactly what's happening. But they always think that we'll always buy into the deception. I hope this was informative and educational. I thank you so much for watching. And if you appreciate this information, please hit that subscribe button, make a comment, and give a thumbs up. Remember, it costs you nothing. It will only encourage the spreading of the truth and encourage me to do more digging so that I can inform those who don't know of different things that are happening in the world and certainly affect us. Until next time, say what? We'll be looking into another informative topic. Please stay tuned.